The only way that an effective research paper is created is if it is examined under the proper lens. That means creating a research question that is able to support and create a proper research paper. Now, to do that, there are some aspects that need to be considered in creating the question, which include clarity, specificity, and quantifiability. Under Artifact 1 above this video, you can see the research questions that I developed through the year. You may also be able to see how I got better at developing research questions through the year. You can see how the questions became more specific, more detailed, and had more quantifiable ideas embedded within them. These are the principles that I tried to use and develop through the year. I attempted to find areas that I found interesting and shape them in a way which I could answer the question with the resources I had on hand in a scholarly format. In my issue 360 paper, I wrote about the limits of education in Niger. My inspiration for that question actually stems all the way back to grade 7 when we learned about the sustainable goals of the United Nations. I quickly figured out that education was the one that actually had a spin-off effect on each other goal and was kind of the basis of the entire project. So I suppose in my issue 360 paper I was trying to prove that idea that I learned, or at least I think I learned, in grade 7. In my performance task 1 paper, I researched why the government needed to regulate the data mining industry due to the negative impacts that surveillance capitalism had on the American people. My inspiration for this idea mainly came from my combined interest in business and media studies. I was able to examine an important issue that was not only important to me but important to society in a logical way that made sense to me, since I think in terms of business and finance usually. In my Performance Task 2 paper, I researched the effect that the competitive nature of the American psyche, thinking of it as a national psyche, had on happiness. My inspiration for this paper was more specifically directed by the College Board, since they gave us specific themes that we had to follow, but it actually turned out to be the most interesting paper of the year because it was amazing to see the effects that happiness and the importance of happiness are in our lives and every day. My main challenges in refining my research generally had to do with taking the general idea that I wanted to study and turning it into something more specific that could actually properly be explored. For each question, I had to find specific phrasing that would allow me to quantify and prove my thesis. As I went through the year, I got better at this, and that's why you can see that each question gets more specific and more actually able to be researched. The only question I would have really liked to have changed is my issue 360 question. This question was very broad, which created issues in my paper. I still think it was a good idea, but the problem was that I didn't have any specific statistics or indexes that I could have referenced in my question that would have created the ability for me to prove a stronger correlation between a lack of investment in education and Niger's poor economic climate. A better question might have been, how do differentials in spending on education in different districts around the US affect average income? I don't know too much about that topic, but I think that's on the right path to creating a specific question that would have actually allowed me to prove the correlation that I was trying to make overall between education and economic quality.